From Stamford Bridge to Elland Road, two stadium, two atmosphere, one question. Are Chelsea ready to build momentum? That's why one draw with 10 men felt like a mentality shift. And this trip to Leeds is where we find out if it's real. Today we break down why consistency matters more than ever, and the starting 11 we expect, and how we'll take 3 points in Yorkshire. But before we dive into this preview, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. But if you have been following me for a while, you know the drills. Help your boy get to that 10k subscriber mark. Let's dive into it. Chelsea arrive at Elland Road as a wounded side, not as a team trying to convince itself it belongs near the top of the table, but as a group that finally showed the maturity we have been begging for now. That's 1-1 draw against Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. It wasn't a good point. That was a statement, a turning point, a moment we saw the mentality shift Enzo Maresca has been trying to drill into this team. He played more than 15 minutes with 10 men after Moses Caicedo got sent off. And instead of collapsing or panicking, the old Chelsea habit, we looked organized, disciplined, and completely locked in. We didn't retreat into the box and pray. We held our structure. We controlled transitions. We stayed intelligent in every phase. And we still took the lead through Trevor Chalobah's header, a moment that summed up exactly where this team is mentally. The performance under adversity is the emotional and tactical plans for Leeds away. And make no mistake, Elland Road is hostile. It's loud, it's chaotic, and Leeds feed off any team that looks slightly uncomfortable. If we switch off for 5 seconds, they are in behind you. If you start chasing shadows, they drown you with intensity. But what we showed against Arsenal is exactly what we need in this fixture, the ability to stay calm in the storm. Because Leeds are dangerous in transition, but they also leave stupid amount of space when they commit their press. If we are clean, if we are patient, if we trust our structure the way we did last weekend, we will carve them open. The resilience we displayed wasn't some emotional high. It looked sustainable. It looked coached. It looks like the next step in us becoming an actual serious football team again. And that's where this match becomes more interesting, because Caicedo is suspended. So Maresca is forced into changes that could have been a problem a couple months ago when we relied on him to clean up every loose ball, every broken play. But right now the units are more connected. Santos is more matured in his positioning, and Enzo is playing with authority again. The attackers, whether it's Neto, Garnacho, or even Extova when he gets minutes, all look sharper, more confident, and willing to take responsibility. We're not going into this game wounded by the debut, but sharpened by it. Leeds, meanwhile, are the opposite. Their form is the definition of fragile. 1 win in their last 5, and that was against West Ham. Since then, Brighton slapped them away. Forest outworked them, Villa punished them, City beat them even after they tried to mount a comeback. 11 goals conceded in 4 games tells you its own stories. This is a team fighting for confidence, more than points. But this isn't the match you walk into expecting them to roll over. Teams at the bottom are scrapped. They fight for every second ball. They throw numbers forward. And if you are careless, they will smell blood. Elland Road has ruined plenty of teams who thought what they needed is just to turn up. And this is where our job is simple. We take the maturity from Arsenal, we take the defensive discipline, we take the composure under pressure, and we go to Elland Road with ruthlessness. Because these are the games that decide whether we are genuinely pushing for something this season, or whether we are just pretending. Beating Arsenal is nice. Drawing them while going down to 10 men is even better. But backing it up with 3 points in a hostile away ground, that's what real teams do. That's how you turn resilience into momentum. We are third in the table for a reason. We have won 4 of our last 5 for a reason. The blueprint is there. Now we need to impose it. This is the type of match where Chelsea show whether we are serious or whether the Arsenal performance was just one-off emotional spark. I don't think it is. I think that was the moment we stopped reacting and started becoming proactive as a squad. That's the moment confidence stopped being a vibe and become a habit. Leeds away is perfect test. A chaotic team, an angry crowd, a wounded opponent. The kind of game where top side goes in and cue those noise early. And now it's on us to be that team. When we talk about Chelsea versus Leeds, the history isn't just numbers. It's chaos. It's energy. It's that old school hostility that never fades away. And even though we haven't faced them in the league since 2022-2023 season, those meetings still carry weight because they show you exactly what kind of fixture this becomes when things get messy. The last time we walked into Elland Road for a Premier League game, back in August 2022, Leeds punched us in the mouth. A 3-0 loss. Aaron pressing Mendy into a mistake. Rodrigo running riot. Jack Harrison finishing us off. It was embarrassing. And it was the first time Leeds has beaten us in the league for almost 20 years. That game is a reminder of what happens when you underestimate their intensity. But what's important is how we responded. The return match at Stamford Bridge in March 2023. was the complete opposite: controlled, calm, decisive. We won a 1-0 through a Wesley Fofana header. The story that day was simple. We were physically better, tactically clear, and emotionally tougher. Leeds couldn't drag us into their chaos because we refused to play their game. And then there was a 3-2 win in the FA Cup the following season. But here's the thing, none of that gives us the right to relax in this fixture. Elland Road doesn't care about the past. The crowd wants blood immediately. Leeds will try to recreate the intensity of that 3-0 game because that's the blueprints that worked for them. And our job, especially with the mentality we've built after that Arsenal performance, is to shut them down early. Now let's get into team news, because this is where the actions start to sharpen for us and where Maresca's decisions becomes just as important as the tactics. First and the obvious one, Moses Caicedo is out. He starts a 3-match suspension after the red cards against Arsenal. And yes, it talks. He's the engine that cleans up everything we don't see. But this is where we find out if the squad is genuinely evolving or if we are reliant on one guy to hold the entire midfield together. In Caicedo's absence, it's almost certain we are going to see a Santos Fernandes pivot. It's young, it's bold, and it's going to get stress tested immediately against Leeds' intensity. With James is another important story. After playing the full 90 minutes on Sunday, he's almost certain getting managed carefully. And honestly, that's non-negotiable. We want him on the pitch every single week, but we have also seen what happens when we push him too hard. Expect Malo Gusto to come in at right back. And to be fair, that's not a downgrade in this system. Gusto's energy, tempo, and the ability to survive high-press games actually suits this fixture perfectly. Dario Sugo is also back in training, which is huge for this squad depth long term. But let's be real, he's not starting this one. Not away at Elland Road. Not in a game where rhythm and discipline matters more than raw potential. He'll be eased back in. But the good news is that Kopama is back. He returned to the squad against Arsenal despite the hip problem and is available off the bench again here. And even if he's not starting yet, the simple fact that he's in the squad gives us a completely different threat profile in the second half if the game starts to stretch. But now moving on, let's break down Leeds tactically. Tactically, Leeds under Daniel Faruk are one of those sides that look flexible on the surface, but you quickly realize the flexibility comes from necessity, not dominance. On paper, they are listed as a 4-3-3. In reality, Faruk shifts them into a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-1-2, depending on how chaotic the match becomes. And that's the key with Leeds. They are reactive. They will change shape because they are forced to, not because they are controlling the tempo. We saw this perfectly in the match against Manchester City. They were 2-0 down, struggling to hold the ball, getting stretched all over the pitch. At halftime, the coach ripped the plan up. He brought up Jaka Buju and he brought on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and suddenly Leeds are operating in a 3-5-2. And give them credit, the change worked. They fought back to 2-2 before City's late winner. Even the coach admitted after that they changed structure in possession to have more control, which tells you how fragile their starting setup can be. The problem for Leeds is simple. The spirit is there, but the structure isn't holding up. They have considered multiple goals in each of their last 4 league games, and it isn't because they are unlucky. It's because their pressing is wild. They jump at triggers, but they don't track runners. They push their wing back high, but they also don't cover space behind. They want to press like Brighton, but they don't have Brighton's discipline or ball security, and this is why teams can cut them open. If you play through the first wave, you are running at a backline that is stretched, panicked, and disorganized. And that's exactly where we should be licking our lips. Because under Maresca, if there is one thing we are good at, it's pulling teams apart when they press without control. Away from home, Leeds are dreadful. Only 3 goals on the road all season, which means at Elland Road, they are going to overcompensate. They'll try to compress the pitch, keep the crowd engaged, and turn the game into series of duel. But the weakness is glaring. They can't defend set piece consistently. They give the ball away in dangerous zone because they insist on building shots. Their wing back become isolated when possession breaks down, and their center back struggle when dragged wide or forced to defend space. All these issues plays directly into what we want. Maresca wants control. He wants structured possession. He wants to pull opponents out of shape. If we stay patient, if we avoid getting into the chaos the crowd creates, and if we choose the right moment to speed up play, the gap will open. Leeds can hurt team in bursts, but they can't sustain control, and games like that favor us every single time. So the matchup is clear. Leeds wants chaos, intensity, and emotion, and we want structure, control, and precision. And based on their recent form, if this game becomes a battle of execution, they won't be able to keep up. Let's move into my predicted 11 because this is where rotation meets reality. December is brutal, and Maresca has shown he's not afraid of making big changes when the schedule gets heavy. In goal, I'm going with Philippe Jorgensen. Sanchez has been excellent recently, arguably one of his best spell of the season. But this is the month where you protect your starters. Jorgensen has been waiting patiently, and if Maresca rotates heavily, this is the most logical spot to start. Leeds will press like lunatic, and Jorgensen is calmer on the ball, so this pick actually fits the game state too. And at right back, I'll be going with Milo Gusto. Simple, James needs to rest. He played the full 90 minutes against Arsenal. We are not risking another setback. Gusto brings the tempo, the vertical threats, and defensively he matches Leeds chaos better than James does right now. It's the right call. Centre back pairing, I'll be going with Tosin Adrabayo and Trevor Chalobah. Look, this pairing isn't going to make any Chelsea fan lean back and relax. It's not prime Terry Carvalho, but it doesn't need to be. Tosin has been steady. Chalobah was heroic against Arsenal. Fofana needs rotation against Leeds, a team that needs to create chaos rather than crafts. These two should be able to hold fair as long as we don't give away cheap transitions. And left back, I'll be going with Jorah Hato. Yes, he cooked up a disaster class against Quarterback. Nobody's pretending otherwise, but he hasn't started since. Cucurella badly needs a breather, and December is unforgiving. This is the moment you give Hato a chance to reset himself. He's too talented not to bounce back, and Elland Road is the perfect test of mentality. And a double pivot of Andres Santos and Enzo Fernandez. Caicedo missing 3 games sounds more scary on paper, but I'm not panicking. Santos has looked sharp and decisive recently. Enzo finally looked like a player rediscovering his authority. The pivot is young, technically secured, and if they stay disciplined, it's more than enough to handle Leeds midfield traffic. In the 10, it's Kupama. He was fit for Arsenal, he didn't come on, and that tells you everything. Maresca was saving him. We need him on the pitch if we are serious about controlling game through the lines. This is the perfect match for him to regain rhythm, sharpness, and confidence heading into a brutal run of fixtures. Left back is Jamie Bino-Gittin. I like him here. He gives us unpredictability we have been missing on that front. The dribbling, the directness, the flair. When you talk about players who want to make broken play situation dangerous, he's exactly that profile. If Leeds leave space, he will punish them. And at right wing is Pedro Neto. No debate, one of the most informed attackers this season. He stretched him, he presses, he beats his man, and he creates. Against Leeds, the size that fell apart when forced to defend wide. Neto is a nightmare matchup. And centre forward, I'll be going with Joao Pedro. I need this guy to step up. I've waited for a Joao Pedro Kopama link up all season. This is the game to finally unleash properly. But he has to score more. He does everything else well. Movement, link play, pressing. But the goals needs to come. Leeds defensive line gives chances. This is your moment, bro. Take it. And prediction, I'll be going with a 3-1 Chelsea win. We have too much quality and they concede too much goals. If we stay composed and don't get dragged into the chaos, we'll win comfortably. And with that said, that's the end of the video, my friends. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. You go be.